Going live, obviously we are already laughing. So number 23 is now live. I have Julie with me this time, the MS SQL girl. You obviously, I believe many people know you, but Julie, a few words for you. Welcome and thank you for joining this hangout. Again, a few words for you.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Boris. Thank you so much for the introduction. That was really nice. So my name is Julie Cosmano. I'm actually from Australia, and I work as a SQL Server and BI consultant at Love Support Solutions. And
Okay.
I am actually currently in Holland. I was hoping to show you a backdrop of the view from Rotterdam, but the light over there was a bit dark, so I have to move to this
Okay.
area and has a dark background. So I do apologize. I can't show you much of Rotterdam except for this black wall and
Okay.
me.
No problem. That's more than enough. So we are just fine. Obviously, Julie, you are in the BI world. At least I know you from this world. Unfortunately, I was not able to come in Holland. We decided to speak on a topic that's very close to you, very far from me. However, I am really interested in the subject that you suggested, and you suggested a very interesting topic. It's on BI tools, BI add-ins. First of all, what are those add-ins?
Okay, so there are a few add-ins available at this. I'm just going to start with one, which is Bits Helper. And Bits Helper has been around for quite some time.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think. I remember still using Bits before it was called SSDT. It was already available then. So
Yes.
it must have been from 2008. So I can't remember all the history, but
Okay.
yeah. So I find it really useful because, especially when developing a tabular model in SSDT, there are quite a lot of functions or features that are not available in tabular model, but you would see that in multidimensional, say, for example, creating actions.
Mhm.
That's actually quite useful. And if you actually install Bits Helper, it actually helps you to add actions sort of in similar way as you would in multidimensional. So that's just one of the main features that I've been using quite a bit. From Bits Helper, which is an add-in to SSDT,
And
and you
that's a
can,
free tool. That's a free
yeah,
add-in, right?
yeah,
Okay.
that's a free add-in. You can download it from Codeplex. I think it was written by, I don't remember all the team members, but Greg Galloway is definitely one of them, and Chris Webb, I think, is also a major contributor. And I can't remember the rest of the team because obviously,
Okay. No.
uh,
What?
yeah.
Okay. What else can we do with this bits helper?
Yeah, so let me just think. So Bits Helper is actually not just for SSIS, but it can be also be used for SSIS, I believe. But I haven't used it so much in the sort of SSIS world. I've only been using it a lot more recently in the SSIS tabular model.
Okay.
So let me just think what else you can do with it.
Uh,
Uh,
no problem.
Sorry.
If you can think of anything, and if there is nothing on the top of your head at the moment, in general, how can we summarize? Why should someone go ahead and download this helper? And is it, let's first say, is it hard to install? Is it hard to deploy it, or is it just the next wizard?
So when you download Bits Helper, you just install it, and it will be added to SSDT. So a
Okay,
lot
cool.
of the controls that you use is by right-clicking, say for example, on the model.bim. So model.bim is one of the files that you would have in SSAS table project. So you
Okay.
right-click, and then there'll be and it will come up with a list of options that you can do from Bits Helper. Yeah.
That sounds nice. I believe it's interesting because I believe I have heard about this too, and obviously it's a famous thing in the BI world. Correct me if
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So you would have come across it if you're a BI person.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would definitely come across it. If you're pretty new, I would recommend you using it. It's actually maintained fairly regularly as well. So if
Okay.
there's a new, say for example, if there's a new Visual Studio, say 2012 or whatever, then it will get updated almost as soon as it can. I haven't checked it out for Visual Studio 2013 yet because I haven't been
Yeah.
playing with 2013 too much. So yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter. You use what brings you value, right?
Yeah,
You use the tools
exactly.
that, yeah, you use every. It's amazing that there are still people that just spend their time and actually lose their time by just exploring tools that they will never use. I don't know. I mean, if they explore those tools in case they will probably need them, or if they somehow win money by doing this and someone pays them, I'm okay. But losing your time in 2014 for just exploring tools that you will never ever use, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. Anyway,
Sorry.
so Bits Helper. What else? Add-ins. What else?
Okay, so because I've been working with tabular model quite a bit recently and just having delivered a pre-con on tabular model, so I thought I might also mention another useful add-in for tabular model, which is called
Yeah,
DAX Editor.
DAX editor.
Yes.
Okay, but
So DAX
before that,
Editor,
I want your opinion on this because you said tabular model many times. In one
yeah.
sentence, why should someone use tabular model and not multidimensional?
That's a popular question that gets asked quite a bit.
Why?
So yeah, so it's quite interesting. In a way, I kind of like a multidimensional model because it's more mature, it can scale quite well, and
Yep.
from development toolchain point of view, it's pretty stable. And there's if you do development in SSDT, right, pretty much all the user interface is directed to move from one step to another to another. So there's like a
Yeah.
workflow there. Whereas with table model, in a way, you're free to choose what you want in terms of workflow wise, but there are sort of best ways of doing things. For example, you would
Okay.
choose table model if if you want to build something quickly, because what happens is if you have to come up with a data model,
Yeah.
and then you're trying to, for example, in my case, in most of the time, trying to convince the client that we can deliver this BI solution, and the quick and easy way of doing it is usually in Power Pivot if they don't already have SQL Server yet, as an
Okay.
example, or if they don't have an analysis services instance yet.
Yeah.
So you build something from Power Pivot, and then you can quickly upgrade that to table model without any issues most of the time. I haven't
Most of the
encountered
time.
any issues. I haven't encountered any issues yet, but
Okay.
obviously I haven't. Yeah, I can't really say I can't really sort of speak on behalf of all projects,
Yeah.
obviously. But yeah, so it's more on the rapid development. So in summary, you would probably choose tabular model of a multidimensional just for the rapid development point of view. And tabular model uses stacks, which is easier to pick up, but it does get quite tricky to build.
Yeah.
And one thing that I have to give a shout out there, I know that this is not quite an add-in, but it's in a way, I would say it as a kind of like a library. It's
Okay.
called DAX Patterns. So DAXpatterns.com. It's done by the Italians, Marco Russo and Alberto
Yes,
Ferrari.
I know Marco very
They
well.
So they've created this website called DAXpatterns.com, which will actually help you quite a lot in solving quite a lot of the sort of business use cases sort of formula that you have to solve. So if you have any if you have to come up with a way of doing, say, for example, specific, say, time intelligence or product categorization like ABC classification,
Yeah.
don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just have a look at the
Yes.
DAX patterns, try to understand it, and implement it. So yeah,
And that's daxpatterns.com.
that's right. Yeah,
Okay.
DAXpatterns.com.
Useful, obviously useful. I know Marco. I have seen him somewhere. I see him very frequently on some conferences.
Yeah.
But at one conference, I was speaking after him, and there were so many people after his session that were just wanted to ask him something that he didn't have any time to unplug his stuff and everything. And I was like,
Yeah.
Marco, sorry, can I just plug my stuff because my session is coming? And he's like,
Yeah.
oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously he is a very well-known guy
Yeah.
and a rock star in the BI world. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
DAX
Definitely.
editor. Now, going back to the DAX editor.
Yes. So Dex Editor is quite interesting because it's an add-in to SSDT as well. It was built by an ex-program manager of Microsoft with like her team. I'm not sure how many people in the team, but so that was around 2012-ish, around when table model was released.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, when it almost feels like when it was released, they knew that there was some things that are not quite, I guess, complete yet. So that's why they've got this add-in to help people to build. So what happens is, so model.bim file, which is the main file that you would use to do the modeling, to create calculated columns and measures and things like that. It's very user interface heavy. So if you want to refactor something, say for example, change measure to something else, and then you have to rename that measure and that measure is being used by another measure or many other measures. You can extract these measures out, like the formula of the measures, out to a separate file, and then and it's easier to manage rather than using the interface, and it's easier to manage and type up, in that sort of text format, and then after that import it back into the model.bim file.
So in general, this tool has, by the way, free, right?
Yeah, it is free as well, and from Codeplex too.
Yeah, okay, so in general, this tool has some type of intelligence that tracks the reference to the measure, right? Something like this. And it will point you, if you try to change something, it will say, hey, there is something that refers to that measure, something like this.
It's not quite automated. It's not quite automated. You have to export it out and then import it back in. So that's one of the features of Dex Editor. And another feature of Dex Editor is that you can write Dex query with a nice sort of syntax highlight, and then you can get the results in a sort of nice format. So at the moment, if you are using SQL Server Management Studios to run Dex queries, you would create a new file, new MDX file. So there's no button for new DAX query file. So you have to create as if you are writing an MDX query. So of course, when you write, say, a DAX query, evaluate, summarize, sum table, whatever, it will come up with a squiggly red line because Management Studio doesn't recognize DAX queries at all, even though it will run fine, but it just doesn't support the syntax highlight. So Dex Editor is good for that too. So at the moment, it's actually being updated by another person. I can't remember his name, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's been updated. There is a little bit of an issue. So if your model.bim file has got KPI formula, then it's not quite working quite right. The previous version works okay. The new version has a little bit of an issue. So I think they might have changed a little bit of the definition of the engine that import and export the file out. But apparently, I saw some comments floating around that it's going to update it in September or sometime soon. So we'll see.
September is actually
it's already gone.
So, already gone.
So I haven't checked it in the last couple of weeks. So it might have been out. So
absolutely. So what do we have till now? We have the bits helper and we have the DAX editor as recommendations. Do you have a third and, let's say, final one? Because I want to ask you one more question.
Yeah, sure. So there's another one. Yeah, so there's another one called Dex Studio. So I've mentioned to you about how Management Studio is actually not that great on syntax highlight, and it's more geared towards writing MDX rather than DAX query. Now, Dex Studio is kind of, it's actually an add-in to Excel. So that's actually really interesting. Yeah, it's an add-in to Excel. So you run it. So you run it from Excel, but you can connect to the tabular database in a server somewhere, and then you can write the DAX query from there. And what's so good about it is, you know how in Management Studio you've got the Object Explorer? You have something like that for the tabular database, so you can see the definitions of the tables, including the ones that are hidden. And so for example, if you want to query something using the hidden columns, you can actually see, oh, that's what it's called, so I'm going to use that. And now
you will say that there is an IntelliSense Could that be?
Is there an intelligence? Let me try to think. I can't remember if it has intelligence.
Okay, it
Um,
will be too good, I
the
believe.
yeah, the Dex editor one I think was supposed to have intelligence, but I can't remember now. Like I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I can't remember now.
Okay, so can you use, by the way, can you use the DAX editor and the DAX Studio, right? The DAX Studio? Can
Yeah.
you use them both? Meaning that do they overlap somewhere?
So Dex Studio is specifically, I use Dex Studio most of the time to write Dex queries. So that's how I use Dex Studio, and in a way, I kind of prefer to use Dex Studio just because it has a tab that shows me the Object Explorer and also has the list of functions that are available for in Dex. So
Okay.
so if I can't remember or what the parameter, how many parameters that I have to supply, then I can refer to it. So it
Yes.
helps me in that way. And then it also tells you the sys objects of the sys table. So you know how in SQL Server, in the SQL Server database engine, you can actually check what are the connections available, what are the connections, live connections right now, and what are the queries running. So you can check performance, kill
That's
speed
really
if you need
nice.
to. So there is an equivalent of that in Tabular or in SSAS. And Dex Studio actually lists all these sys tables too. So you can just kind of drag and drop and then, and inspect that.
That
Yeah.
sounds nice. Okay, that sounds nice. So, because we're close to the 30 minutes, which I always promise, but sometimes I go more over 30 minutes. One question from me as probably a person who is not that involved in the BI world, and I know so many guys that are in that situation, but at least they get involved in a very specific cases, and they always think, and me included, I'm now taking a course on BI stuff.
Oh, cool.
What's your, by the way, self-learning? That's not the best way, and that's why I wanted to ask you, if you are asked by someone to recommend an approach, a way, a course, something on trying to, and on developing models, on creating your first BI solution, where would you point him?
Um, Interesting question. I have to say that a lot of the time I watch webinars.
You watch webinars,
So
okay?
yeah, so a lot of the time I watch webinars, whether it's hosted by Microsoft or whether it's hosted by past BI virtual chapter. So I'm doing a
Yes.
little bit of an advertisement here. I co-lead the BI virtual chapter. So yeah, there's usually quite a lot of webinars out there. So yeah.
Probably webinars will be the starting point.
Yeah, I would say so. I still remember when I first started learning analysis services multidimensional model, I
Yeah.
went to the, I think it's called, back then it's called Channel 9. I'm not quite sure whether it's still the same.
Yes. Yes, it
Um,
is. It's
so
that's one of the best indeed.
Yeah, so I learned it from there, and then now I think there's Microsoft Virtual Academy. So I know that this
Yes.
is not so related to analysis services, but so for example, if you want to learn Power BI, so there's Microsoft Virtual Academy that you can go to and then explore. And a lot of the time when you're trying to get into BI, you don't really quite know what's out there. There are actually quite a lot of things in BI
Yes,
world.
there are.
So you want to sort of start exploring. So yeah, go to Microsoft Virtual Academy um, or to Channel 9, like I mentioned before, or a BI virtual chapter to see what's out and around. For example, it could just be in the data warehousing topic or the BI topic. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of resources out there. That
And
it's
of
amazing,
course,
yeah. And
yeah.
the labs they're doing in the Microsoft Academy, it's just the virtual academy. It's just amazing, amazing. They did amazing job there.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely. So probably now is the moment to say that if you want to go and try or deliver a webinar for the Past BI chapter, now is the time that now you know who to reach, right?
Yeah.
So, so
Yeah.
if you want to deliver a webinar on a BI subject, Julie is your guy. Julie, no, Julie is your person. So That's it. So we have 3 add-ins. We now know where to go if we want to learn BI, which is very useful, by the way. And we have the DAX Studio, the DAX Editor, and the Bits Helper. Tools free of charge. You can just download, use them, try them, and
Yeah,
see
and
whether
don't
or not they
forget
work.
daxpatterns.com. That's
Oh
another
yes,
good
and
one.
DAX patterns built by Marco. So Julie, amazing time having you. It's great to have you lasting. Where can people see you? Where can people find more about you? What's next?
Okay, well, I'm on Twitter, so it's at MSSQLGuild. So if you want to see
Yes.
where I'm at, I usually tweet something about that there.
Okay,
And I have a website, which is mssqlguild.com.
that's easy. Okay,
Yeah,
same as the
so
Twitter. Okay.
yeah. And my next trip is actually, or my next speaking engagement is going to be SQL Saturday in Sydney on the, I
Oh
think,
yeah. Okay.
25th of October. And then after that, SQL Saturday Portland. And then
Okay. So
after
in the
that,
States,
Pass Summit.
you will be on the
Yeah,
Pass Summit too.
yeah.
Okay. So obviously you are quite busy till the end of November. Let's call it
Yeah.
this way.
hmm I
Okay,
think it's
so
also Sydney BI user group. I think if
in
I remember
November
correctly, I'm speaking there in December.
or in December.
Yeah.
Okay, so four speaking engagements till the end of the year. So
Yeah.
let's hope that people will be able to travel to Sydney or to the States to see you there
Yeah.
somewhere. If not, 2015 is in front of us. So
Yeah.
probably you should join
Exactly.
us here in Bulgaria. The SQL Saturday event in Sofia is this Saturday. Probably
Oh
you should
wow.
consider coming to Sofia next year. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I can make it there. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
the event is absolutely great. We have, for a small country, we have 400 people coming and showing up, which
Wow.
is
Amazing.
quite amazing. Yes, quite amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
Julie, so I don't want to continue more because I know that you are busy. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that we will record another one soon again.
Yeah. I hope so
And
too.
yeah, I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that people will learn something new when they see this hangout. We will see the feedback afterwards. Thank you
Yeah.
very much again, and
Yeah.
I hope to see you soon. What
Thank you
else?
for having me. Thank you guys.
Okay, I will follow up with a blog post where I will share this, and I will put your contacts and your blog there for the people to know them.
Yeah. No worries. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Stop.